Hello, everyone. So we're not here for another game in this case. We have actually made it to 7Q on Pandanet. What I thought could be interesting is looking over the games that we already played. It was only 5 games before we ranked up, but I thought it could be nice for me to sort of pinpoint one important aspect that you can really pay attention to in your own games to make sure you don't do it as well. And something that I noticed happened in every game was that my opponents ended up getting surrounded, or they played in a way that gave me so much strength on the outside that I was able to threaten to surround them, which gave me lots of profit. So it's not just going to be about preventing yourself from getting surrounded, but also threatening to surround your opponents. Those are really, really important at this level. So this was the first game, and my opponent, as you can see with this dot here, they did play very deeply into my area. And yes, I already have this on here because I looked at it a little bit. But I can surround them right now if I really wanted to, but I decided to play a more simple and steady game where I just connect underneath, make sure all my groups are strong. They jump out and I threaten to surround them again. Instead of running away, they attach and make me even stronger to a very large degree, and then they run away again, and I separate, which is also, again, threatening to attack the group to some extent. So I'm just worried about separating, keeping the group weak. And then they invade. So what did they do here? They did an invasion/reduction idea, gave me a lot of extra strength, and then they came in where it was way too deep and they were already surrounded. In most situations, you probably should not be allowed to live locally, which is actually what happened in the game. They try to run away, and I just surround, and that's all I'm doing. I'm just surrounding. I'm trying to sort of give them everything, but now they are completely surrounded. I can go and start poking at their weaknesses and trying to sort of use the strength that I got from that surround to damage their group. So if we go back, what should they have done differently? Well, they probably just shouldn't have given me so much influence. They went and made sure to take all these corners, try to take as many points as they could, but that allowed me to get a lot of influence on the outside. And you need to have a little bit of a balance of both in every game. If we go all the way back here, before they even do this Atari here, let's just have them back off. Yes, they made a mistake in the other corner, but let's just have them back off. Play very simple. We'll play low, and let's just play a very basic Joseki. After this basic Joseki, they can now start dealing with my influence by playing like a splitting move, for example. If I push them towards the wall, they jump up, jumping to the fourth line, because the fourth line gives us more strength towards the center. And if we try to surround, we can now go to the third line here to make a very large base. So it's harder to attack the group because we're respecting the influence. So if they take this one, we're just jumping towards the center to respect the influence that's in the center, making it so that we aren't getting surrounded, preventing the influence from being as useful. But you see, I'm sort of just playing a reduction idea here. I'm reducing my opponent in a large way. I'm not worried about territory. In this case, I'm worried about the influence and not getting surrounded. That's sort of the idea you can go here. And even if you want to be even more carefully influenced, you can go a little bit further to the left, for example. Another option here. So in this second game, you can see that I am white here. My opponent as black has been surrounded. You can see how strong I am. Like all my stones are very well connected to each other and very much surrounding my opponent and also threatening to surround their second weak group that's on the board. That was another thing that was sort of a problem in every game. But if I just say protect your weak groups, that's maybe not enough. What I really want to point out is don't let your groups get surrounded and don't give your opponent so much strength, which gives them that opportunity to surround your stones. In this case, they actually just went too far. If we go back to how this started, they never even had a stone here to begin with. They purposefully threw stones in here like they were trying to take advantage of my shape in some way, but there was just nothing that they could actually do. And they needed to run away right away. But as you can see, if they're running now, they have two weak groups. If they try to escape with this one, just playing very simple moves, the one at the bottom is dead now. And the other one is still not alive because I'm so strong everywhere. So what they should have done in this game, first of all, they shouldn't have probably played all the way over to here. But even if they did play all of this, what they should do now is they should make sure their group is alive in the center. We're going to reduce white from a distance while saving our weak group. If I go and I make sure to capture these stones like this, now black is a lot stronger. I probably even play another move to make sure that my group is very strong. But now we've only lost our first small mistake. We didn't keep making it worse, and we made our one weak group significantly stronger. We should even do this even earlier before we even play any of the other moves. It's okay to let your opponent just have points if it's in exchange, especially if it's in exchange for making your groups stronger, and especially if they were weak to begin with. You don't always need to invade your opponent's area or take things away from them. Just focus on your weak group and focus on not getting surrounded. As I said, even here, I'm playing an extra move to make sure that my group is fine. And even in the next game, it happened. There's 5 games here, guys. It happened every game. There's the next one. Yeah, there may have been some more stuff that happened later, but even here, our opponent is white, and they have this 4-stone group that I got to capture, or not capture, but cap and try to surround. I end up not actually surrounding it, but the threat of surrounding it is what gave me a ton of points this game. If we look through this really slowly, while I'm threatening to surround with every move, I get to capture like most of this right side. And my other group got to be a little bit stronger because I played like from my weaker side to harass their weaker group, which made my group strong and got me points. So if we go back, what ended up happening? Well, part of what happened was they tried to attack my group before they were strong. If they want to attack my group, they have to defend their other group first, which is getting me a ton of potential points on the right side if I never defend my group. But then you can attack. Now that the group is strong, we can now go back to attack. But before that, you really can't do that. The more you try to attack this group from the wrong side being the side where you're already strong. So even here, I would probably come from the center to surround the group instead of trying to poke at this vital point. Yeah, you should not try to attack from the strong side. You attack from your weaker group, pushing to the strong group that you have. And then even earlier, when they made this weak group and I jumped out, they jumped into my corner and made my area even more thick, even more strong. Regardless if they are alive in the corner or not, I am significantly stronger here. And so I thought, okay, they have to be jumping out now, but then they didn't jump and we got to attack. So again, we invaded and made our opponent strong, making our other group even more weak when we should have just been running away to begin with. Yes, they play the diagonal, so I couldn't connect up underneath, but who cares about that? It doesn't matter if I connect up underneath. What matters is your group is strong, your group is protected and not surrounded. So even we go back a little bit further, this is where it sort of was already a little bit too far. Trying to attack something when it's too early, you're not even strong yet. You get strong first, I play away, and then you can attack the group. That's how this works. That's how you should always be playing. And in the next game, my opponent, as black, ended up getting surrounded on the left side and even has a weak group that I can still surround, which I do in the actual game, in the middle. So what actually happened, it's actually me preventing myself from getting surrounded and my opponent not paying attention to their groups. So we go all the way back here. They played this one space jump, which was already a bit questionable. So I got to push and cut. I was happy with this push and cut because it means my groups are going to be very strong. And then they Atari me and Atari here, and they try to save their cutting stone, which was not important yet. And through saving this, their other group is now completely surrounded and very likely just dead. I'm not even sure if there is a way to save it, I have to be honest. Maybe there's a way if they really try, but it is going to be difficult. So instead of attacking them right away, even though they are surrounded, I just focus on making sure my groups are connected. I don't want to be surrounded, right? So my groups are all protected. Then they go back to try to defend, and it's already too late. They are already dead here, as we show in the game. Already dead. I didn't know I could press the up and down button to make it skip so much, but yes, already dead. So we go back all the way to here. Even after this cut, for example, they could give it up and make sure their group is strong, make sure their group is alive and not attackable. If I capture here, I might even play another move to make sure my group is fine. But especially instead of this jump where I can push and cut, they could just play the knight's move, which I can no longer push and cut. That doesn't work. They can just capture right away. And I probably even spend another move to make sure my groups are all connected, make sure I don't have anything to worry about. And then I would even play another move again to make sure this group can't be attacked. The not being able to be attacked is very important. Even if they live after I surround them, it's still good for me to surround them. So we're not worried about points here. We're not really worried about any of that. What we're worried about right now is just our weak groups, and that is it. So this game was a little bit different in that regard, and in this game, I did get to surround some groups, as you can see right here. As white, I am surrounding this upper left group, which I don't think they really realized I was doing. They had opportunities to prevent that from happening, of course. In this game, it was also just me threatening their groups over and over again, and the threat that I was holding over them was the idea that I would surround their group and make it hard for them to live. So if we just go back to before this fight here, we do and get up into some sort of trade in the center here. They block me. I make sure that my group is safe and strong, make sure there is no weakness in the upper left. They make sure their group's alive, which was okay. Then I Hane here, and they just push me towards their group, allowing me to threaten to cut it off and surround it. Yes, they do get to escape at some point, but I'm still threatening to surround the group with each sort of move. They even make one more move here to make sure I can't surround them. And then I'm able to go back and get this profit from my attack. So we need to get into a situation where they couldn't get surrounded. So we have to go back even further here. Yes, they probably do need to make sure they're alive over here. I probably wouldn't even play this first move, honestly. I would probably just make sure my group's alive over here. And then if I go to attack over here, yeah, you can maybe Hane one time, but you need to jump away as quickly as possible. But you can see that because they have this weak group and that I have like all this strength here and I can continuously threaten to surround them by just turning like this, they can't build the left side of the board because they have that weak group. Because now it's just very likely dead. So they put themselves in a bad position here. So we go all the way back to the beginning, actually. It was because, again, I was threatening to surround this bottom group. When I blocked here, I decided to be a little bit softer on them. This is going to be good enough. And they should have been jumping out right now. If this group is never weak and it's always out running towards the center, then this is going to be a good variation. Not a good variation necessarily, but it's going to be a more comfortable variation for my opponent. If they don't have to worry about this weak group, then they can do that aggressive stuff they did on the top side earlier. But because they didn't do that, and I got to come over the top side, I got the extra strength here in the center. Yep, even more strength, even more strength. And the only group that they surrounded was a group that is alive because I have so much space here to live. And then I'm threatening to surround them again. And this is sort of the whole tale of this entire game, where I'm surrounding them. They're feeling uncomfortable. And then I take a big point and they try to come in. Then I have to go to surround them again. And they start feeling uncomfortable. Right? That's exactly the story of this game over and over again. I'm just threatening to surround. They're not feeling good about it. But at this point, it's already sort of too late because they have two weak groups on the board that have to run towards each other in order to survive. So remember, it's not just about making sure you jump away and make sure your group is strong and like making sure they can't surround you directly, but it's also important to try to prevent this from happening in the first place. The idea is to reduce your opponent maybe from a distance instead of trying to invade again. If you have one weak group, just make sure that group is as strong as possible before you ever decide to make another weak group, even if they seem like they're not close enough to each other to really matter. So that's the thing to really focus on, right? Really, really focus on the idea of not getting surrounded and saving your groups. And it seems that, especially at 10Q, that's something that everyone needs to be a little bit better at. We'll see if that continues on at 7Q. I have a suspicion that it might, especially considering even my 3 Dawn games and 4 Dawn games and 2 Dawn games, like all those, I was still surrounding my opponents and killing them. It's something that people don't focus on enough. I think you are often too afraid of losing your points to protect your weak group. But a weak group is worth an unknown amount of points. They could be worth an infinite amount where it dies and your opponent wins, right? It could be worth just like 20 points because your opponent got to surround or force you to connect to something, and they end up making points in the center somewhere. You just don't know exactly what the point value is. So if you protect it and prevent it from being attacked, it's often bigger than just taking like a 10-point move somewhere else. As you get stronger, you do start to understand what the value is. But I know that when I was weaker, I didn't understand that value. That's why I'm calling it an unknown amount. And if it's an unknown amount, you want to prevent your opponent from taking it because it's often free as well. Free is in you have to save your group. So you're going to respond to a lot of the moves. So they're getting all those moves for free. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like this idea of sort of reviewing the biggest mistake in the past X amount of games of a rank. I liked this idea. I really wanted to try it out. So let me know what you think. And I hope you're having a good day and have fun.